Welcome to this month's Market Update. I'm here today with Dr. Vivian Xu, a member of Frontier Advisors' Capital Markets and Asset Allocation team. Hi there, Vivian.
Hi, Wayne.
So some very positive data out of the US recently, particularly around inflation and I guess their economy more broadly. Why don't we start with a bit of an overview of the US economy?
Sure. I'll start with the latest inflation print. The latest June inflation in the US was 3% on a year-over-year basis. This is below the market expectation, and it is suggesting that the inflation is coming down and getting increasingly closer to that 2% target set by the Fed. So yes, it is quite encouraging for investors because a lower inflation print typically means we're getting closer to the rate cutting cycle. So the market has reacted quite positively following the print release. Both the bonds and equity have rallied and US dollar have come down.
Are there any downsides or areas of concern in place there as well?
Yes, the overall US economy has remained relatively strong. This is mainly supported by household spending and solid government spending as well. In the last several weeks, however, we have seen a few more signs of softening in the data. The US economy has never managed to avoid a recession whenever that unemployment rate spikes up materially. Where we're currently at is the unemployment rate has bottomed out. It is still below the equilibrium, but it is inching towards the equilibrium. So for investors, the key thing is to keep an eye on the next few labor market reports, see if there's any sign of significant increase in unemployment rate.
So some areas for caution, but broadly positive story. Not so much the case in China, of course, Australia's largest trading partner. Talk to us a little bit about what you're watching in China at the moment.
I think it's a good time to talk about this because we've just had a new round of data released for the second quarter and the first half of this year. The GDP in second quarter has grown 5% year over year. It is barely touching the 5% annual goal set at the start of the year. But even with this number, it is likely inflated. And the indicator we've been tracking saying the property transaction is down more than 50% compared to the peak in 2021. And so far, we haven't really seen any signal of stabilization in that sector. Another thing that we've been tracking is the CPI in China. So China has a very different picture, inflation picture compared to the rest of the world. The CPI has been flirting with zero all the time. And this is saying China is struggling with the deflationary pressure while the rest of the world struggling with high inflation.
Yes. So there's quite a significant political meeting underway in China at the moment, I guess, looking to revitalize a struggling economy. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. The current ongoing, the third plenum meeting is a meeting that happens every 5 years. It's an important meeting for China because it's where the higher ranked CCP officials meet, and this meeting typically sets the tone for the next 5 years in terms of economic development. For this year, I think there are two key things to watch. The first one is any potential tax and fiscal reform. Earlier this year, in another meeting, the Politburo Standing Committee meeting, the Chinese authority, they signaled there might be a major reform coming through later this year. And this reform is important because they are supposed to realign the incentives of local government officials, which is, at the core of many Chinese economy issues. So for investors, if the tax reform can be carried out in a sufficient scale, it can actually be something material to turn the week before Chinese economy. The second thing is looking for any potential shift in long-term policy focus, like the Chinese government is actively backing certain sectors, like the new energy sectors, the batteries, the solar panels, the semiconductor chips. Those are the sectors that are considered strategically important for Chinese economy. If the Chinese government is going to bet on those sectors for potential growth, those are likely to be hinted through this meeting.
Okay, so we'll see more electric vehicles coming our way from China, I imagine, in time ahead. Thanks for your update today, Vivian, and thanks for watching this month's Market Update.